are looking forward to the NNOA 50th Anniversary Symposium.
Save the date now, July 25th through 29th, 2022. Prepare to book early at the West Annapolis Hotel.
Book your hotel room, register early, sign up to speak, sign up to mentor, and be mentored. There is something for everyone.
Junior officers, be on the lookout for sponsorships through the Coast Guard, Navy, and the Marine Corps and our other sea services.
We are building tomorrow's leaders today. We are stronger together.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. We hope you have registered or will begin to register for our 50th symposium. Today is our virtual brown bag day. I am Captain Mary McAdams, United States Navy retired. Happy to see or know that you're out there. So get your lunch and let's get started. The mission of NNOA is to enhance sea service expectations of operational readiness by supporting recruiting, professional development, and retention to achieve a diverse officer corps that reflects the demographics of our nation. Now, this is our professional development section. So please place any questions you have for us in the chat, and we will now introduce the members of today's discussion group. We have with us Captain Harris, United States Public Health Service. We have Commander Kelechi Ndukwe, who is the CEO of a ship out in San Diego, and Lieutenant Commander Takana Jefferson, United States Navy Chaplain Corps. All righty, there they are, and we are looking forward to a great discussion. I will now introduce Captain Harris. Captain Harris' current assignment is Chief Behavior Health Unit for ICE Health Service Corps. And this is the first time we've had a Health Service Corps office, Public Health Service Corps officer with us. So thank you, Captain Harris, for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us. Captain Harris is a licensed clinical social worker and board certified diplomat with 20 years of clinical management and leadership experience in various behavioral health settings in the state of Florida and the U.S. Public Health Service Corps, Commission Corps. Captain Harris co-developed Resilience Through Meditation, a program that facilitates meditation experiences for hundreds of public health service officers and civilians across 13 federal agencies, and 33 different locations nationwide. She will walk us through a meditation in today's session. Please assist, and she will assist us in dispelling any myths you may have about meditating. Next, I want to introduce our CO, who will give us the CO's perspective today. That is Commander Ndukwe. Commander Ndukwe is the commanding officer of the USS Halsey, DDG 97. He's a native of Columbus, Ohio. He graduated from the University of Notre Dame in 2002 with a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering. He was commissioned through the Naval ROTC program there. He is also a graduate of the U.S. Naval War College with a master's degree in national security and strategic studies. He will open the session, as I said, on the CO's perspective. Next, we have Lieutenant Commander Takana Jefferson, United States Navy Chaplain Corps. Chaplain Jefferson is currently the Command Chaplain for Naval Support Activity, Washington, D.C., and is a student at Howard University, earning her Doctorate of Ministry in Sacred Text with a focus on plant-based lifestyle. Okay, Takana, this is a plant-based milkshake we have today.
Yes, it is.
Just want to get that in there. Also, the National Naval Officers Association chaplain, and we lean on her heavily. In 2018, Chaplain Jefferson completed the mental health integration for chaplains a year-long intensive training through the VA. A native of Wartrace, Tennessee, in 2008, she earned her master's in business management with a concentration in healthcare management from American Intercontinental University, Hoffman Estates, Illinois, both magna cum laude. In 2011, she finished her Master's of Divinity degree at Memphis Theological Seminary in Memphis in Memphis, Tennessee, with honors cum laude. She is also prior enlisted hospital corpsman / pharmacy technician. Again, I want to remind you, please place all your questions for our panelists in the chat. Now, our topic today is very, very important. We're going to be talking about health and wellness. The C Service's #1 priority is your health and your well-being. So we want to make sure we're taking care of our Coast Guardmen, our Marines, and our sailors. We need to learn to manage stress in our lives. We will have a discussion with Captain Harris and Commander Jefferson on how and why behavior health matters. What is anxiety? And what are panic attacks? And what are some preventive measures that you can use? But before we get started with them, I want to turn it over to our CO, Commander Ndukwe, who will give us a CO's perspective. Please take it away, Commander.
Well, thank you, Captain McAdams, for that intro. I am going to keep my comments short because I know when I'm outmatched by these experts, Captain Harris and Lieutenant Commander Jefferson. But when Captain McAdams asked me to speak today, she told me to just start with how I would talk to my team about mental health and about behavioral health issues. And I'll just share with you what I'd say every week, every all hands call, that I'll finish it with: stay in touch with yourself. Remember how important that each and every one of our team members are to the success of our team. And that most importantly, you are not alone in your journey. We're all on a journey. We're all on a path. And we're at different phases of that. Some of us are, at the very beginning stage. The rest of us, may be towards the end of it, but we're still on that journey, including myself. So I always bring myself into what I say to the crew, one, to ensure that they know that I'm with them on that journey. That they know that, their families are their witnesses. I'm big on talking about how there is someone that is witnessing what they're doing. No one signed up to be in any of the C services because they didn't want to be part of something bigger and better than themselves. And so who is back home on that journey with them as their witness from afar? And if there's nobody at the end of the day, if there's nobody that knows that you're out there, then I'll be your witness. And that's the role that I see for me as a leader, and for us at various stages of our leadership, is the role that we can play. But most importantly, in that leadership, we have to remember, as a leader, we tend to forget ourselves. And that is where Captain Harris and Lieutenant Commander Jefferson are going to ensure that they give us techniques to be able to, one, put ourselves at the forefront, because we can't manage people. We can't manage relationships. We can't manage the mission if we're not taking care of ourselves as well. And so, on my day-to-day, I have conversations with throughout the crew. And one of my junior officers was struggling, and he came to me and he asked me, what I thought about what he was struggling with. And I said, to be honest, I can't give you a clear answer. I can't give you, what would work for you, because it might not work for you, or what would work for me, because it might not work for you. But what I can do is put you in touch with our family, military family and life counselor, or put you in touch with the chaplain, or introduce you to Military One Source, so that you can work through those things. And he said to me, because I told him, I said, I struggle with things all the time. I struggle with being away from my family. I struggle with my extended family dynamics. He said, sir, I will do this if you do it as well. So I thought that was a pretty powerful message there. And just to finish up real quick, just to highlight some of the resources, as you'll hear from Captain Harrison and Chaplain Jefferson, the chaplains is a resource. Military, family, and life counseling, MFLAC, are resources. And Military One Source, which I used when I was in early command in 2013, as an opportunity to confidential, free life counseling, non-medical counseling. And a little bit of homework that I'll finish up with real quick here is I want everybody to Google an article from a peer of mine. His name is Captain Ted Pledger. About a month and a half ago, he wrote a fantastic, very revealing article about therapy for leaders and what he wished he had done while he was in command. And it wasn't until after command that he realized what he was going through and wished that he had tapped into that resource earlier. And it's called Leading with the Mental Edge, Staying Sharp with Therapy. So please Google that and do some research and really just pay attention to what your body and mind are saying. Without any further ado, I'll turn it over to the experts. Thank you.
Thank you, Commander. We really appreciate you being forthright and upfront with us. So it's so important for us to take care of ourselves, as the CO said. We can't take care of the people we're responsible for if we don't take care of ourselves. So thank you again, Commander, for reaffirming the things that we know, that we need to take care of ourselves. The military tells us we're our number one resource for the military. So make sure you take care of yourself. At this time, Captain Harris and Commander Jefferson will provide assistance on behavioral health, signs to assist us in recognizing when we may be in trouble and need some coping mechanisms. Now, I must give us a disclaimer. We are not doctors, but they are certified in their areas of expertise. Please know that these are just some coping mechanisms. If you're experiencing any of these symptoms as they go through the discussion, we urge you to contact your doctor right away. If you need personal counseling, make sure you listen to what the CO said and contact One Source or contact your command chaplain. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to Captain Harris and Commander Jefferson. Captain Harris, please take it away. Captain Harris, we can see you. We may be having some technical difficulties. Can you hear us?
I can.
Great.
Yes.
I lost you for a minute, but I can hear you now.
Great. So you may start, Captain Harris. Just know for our audience, we have technical difficulties a lot, so don't worry about it, but we will keep rolling. So Captain Harris, I turn it over to you.
Sure. Thank you so much. And I'm very happy to be here and have this opportunity to talk about just behavioral health in general and how we can take care of ourselves better than what we do or enhance what we're already doing. So, when we talk about behavioral health, I think it's important to put it in the right context. So a lot of times you hear behavioral health, you hear mental health. Sometimes they're used independently from each other. Sometimes they're used interchangeably. So I think it's important to really kind of highlight what is behavioral health, right? And so if you can just kind of look at it along a spectrum of sorts, like a continuum. And behavioral health is almost like in that continuum, in that spectrum, is almost like an umbrella that means quite a few things. And so it incorporates along this spectrum, it incorporates prevention, it incorporates intervention and treatment. It incorporates recovery support services. And most importantly, it incorporates mental health and substance misuse as well, wellness also, and health promotion. So all of that equals behavioral health. So when someone goes to see behavioral health, it's not just because there are some issues from a mental health perspective. It could be to put off or stave off having some issues. And it could be because you identify something that is troubling to you that you want to work on. And you want to kind of enhance your own well-being and promote your own health and wellness. So it's important to look at it that way. Behavioral health providers, a lot of times we think, okay, well, a behavioral health provider is a psychiatrist, it's a clinical social worker like myself, or a psychologist, or a licensed professional counselor. But it could also be your primary care doc or provider, because they also treat, especially when we look along the spectrum, they also treat and address and support us in terms of our promoting our health and well-being. So I think that's something important. I really wanted to highlight that distinction. Commander Jefferson.
Captain Harris, we're now going to hear from Chaplain Jefferson, and she's going to give us some ideas of what to look for.
Yes, Captain Harris, thank you for that wonderful example or definition, because a lot of times it can become skewed and people feel a certain way. So now being able to expound on that really clarifies a lot of things, and it really leads us into where I am as a chaplain, where I see a lot of service members who are dealing with stressful situations, even myself. We deal with stressful situations that lead to anxiety and panic attacks. So some of the things that I want to explain, because we talk about stress, but we do not talk about, if we don't handle that stress, what are some of the side effects? And that is anxiety as well as panic attacks. So what exactly is anxiety? Anxiety is what we feel when we're worried. It's a natural tense or afraid, particularly about things that are about to happen or which we think could happen in the future. So it's a natural human response we feel when we're under pressure of any kind. Sometimes it's deadlines. As officers, we know that there's always some kind of deadline. As commanding officers, is something that we always feel that we have to do. And we're not just a part of our job, but it's the whole encompassing everything, family and all of that. So a lot of times we feel that extra pressure, and it can be experienced through our thoughts, our feelings, and physical sensations. So some of the signs that I want you to look for when you're becoming anxious, and you may not realize what is going on with you. You might think that you've had too much coffee that day, which you may have, because we love to drink caffeine in the military, but it could also be a sign of anxiety. You can have a fast thumping or irregular heartbeat, sweating or hot flashes, sleep problems, insomnia, not being able to sleep, grinding your teeth, especially at night. If you wake up the next day and you're wondering why your jaw is sore, you can find out, you go to medical or dental and realize that you've been grinding your teeth at night. You also may have some nausea as well. And the needing to go to the bathroom more, believe it or not, because it activates that fight or flight and syndrome in our bodies, that our body's under distress and we're trying to figure out how to deal with it. So the need to evacuate more comes along. And then that leads us to possibly having panic attacks. And so, so when you get ready, when it gets to the point to where you have those situations where you start feeling like you're having panic attacks, you have also, is very similar to anxiety. You may have a pounding or a racing heartbeat, a feeling faint, dizzy or lightheaded. You also may feel very hot or cold. You could be sweating, trembling, nausea again, pain in your chest or abdomen. Some people have described it as thinking they're having a heart attack. And then also struggling to breathe as if you're choking. You also may feel like your legs are shaking and turning to jelly. You may not be able to feel like you can stand up, and also feeling just disconnected from yourself, your mind, body, and surroundings. You may feel like you're standing on the outside of your body. So again, as I was saying, some of those thoughts that come to your mind when you're in this moment is that, you might feel very afraid. You may feel like you're losing control, or that you're going to faint or even have a heart attack. I had one friend, a girl of mine, who said, she actually felt like she was going to die when they rushed her to the emergency room. And she actually is a psychologist, but she had been so overworked during COVID that she was not taking care of herself the way that she should have. And she ended up in the hospital to find out that she was having a panic attack. And so some of the ways to respond to that is focus on your breathing, which you're going to teach us, Captain Harris, how to do a little bit later. Concentrate breathing in, slowly out. Also, too, you may need that brown paper bag that they talk about, breathing in that brown paper bag. But if you don't have that, if you can just sit, put your feet on the ground, sometimes placing your feet on the ground where you feel more stable, sitting down, and just breathe in and out. You want to focus on the senses. Sometimes taking a piece of candy or, a mint or something in your mouth to give you familiarity, even chewing gum, it helps with the senses. And so all of those are some of the things that you can do that can help you with having panic attacks. So Captain McAdams, that is what we're going to share so far, because I don't want to get too far ahead, because Captain Harris got some other good things that she's going to share with us.
Thank you, Chaplain. Had my mic on. I just want you all to know that when in the audience, when we were going through the script and practicing, I said to them, dog, I have had some of those. Heart palpitations was the number one thing I used to have as a department head, as an XO and a CO. And I did my XO and my CO tour in recruiting. So as women and sometimes as officers, we tend to just push through. Oh, there's not a problem. There's not a problem. I really had once thought to go to the doctor for the heart palpitations. But, I'm a strong Black woman. I just kept moving forward. So I just want to say to any of you that are out there and you have experienced anything that we've talked about, don't hesitate. Go check it out. Like the CEO said, can't take care of our folks if we don't take care of ourselves. So at this time, Commander Jefferson and Captain Harris, I would like to know, how do we develop resilience and preventive measures? And CO, if you have anything you want to add in, I'm sure they'll be able to fit you in where you fit in at. And Commander, everybody needs to unmute themselves, because I'm going to go on mute and leave the discussions to all three of you.
All right, Captain Harris, do you want to lead with the first one and we just talk about it?
Sure. So, one thing that I think, and when I heard you mentioning about this with the anxiety, sometimes we get so overwhelmed, especially when we look ahead at everything that we have to do, or just we may have a task that may seem to be so large and so great. It's important to do what we call in my field, that we call it chunking. So take chunks of something, of a bigger task or larger task. It may be the most important chunk. It may be the one that is just the easiest, the lowest hanging fruit. And so you can feel that I got this accomplished. I got this off of my plate. But when those tasks seem to be too great or too overwhelming, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's related to work, personal life, whatever. It's important that we take these little chunks and then give it our all, give those little chunks our full focus and attention. We often think that, I'm multitasking, but that doesn't, sometimes we have to do that, but it benefits us more when we can chunk things and really focus on something one at a time.
Yes, you're right. And I say also to forgive yourself. We sometimes can be our own worst critic. Those type A personalities are everywhere in the military. So sometimes we have to forgive ourselves when we make mistakes and say, okay, you know what can I learn from this and how can I move on, and not beat ourselves up. Reward yourself when you do something, when you accomplish the smallest task or get that chunk done. And once you completed that chunk, reward yourself. And you also want to think about resolving those conflicts. A lot of times that weighs heavy on our minds late at night when we're laying in the bed and we're going over our day and the conversations that we've had with people. And, sometimes it really is just to having that proper communication and being able to talk to someone and being able to resolve those issues that we may have with someone. A lot of times someone may not even realize you have a problem with them or that you were offended by comment or a statement, or that something even made you anxious because you didn't communicate that with them, or maybe you thought you did and didn't articulate it as well as possibly could have. And so sometimes it's going back in and resolving those conflicts and getting a change of scenery. Even if you're on the ship deployed, you can walk around. There's many times I got out of my office because it's always in the bottom of somewhere. We get out with the library. We get out and walk around, get out, go topside and see the ocean and the dolphins and the water snakes. That's why I won't get in the ocean. The water snakes scare me. But get out and see the scenery and just, and begin to have a thought of gratefulness, because we can't allow all the negative things that come in our mind to overtake us and forget the blessings that we really do have right in front of us. Commander?
Yeah, I was just going to say the chunk methodology or method is something that I try to practice a lot. It's a struggle. I actually heard when I was XO, one of the fellow XOs on the waterfront talked about, how he looks at his day, writes down 3, max 5 things on a stick-it note, and he puts it on his desk. And it says, as long as I get these 3 to 5 things done in the day, then it's been a successful day. And there's no other stress that he allows, does his best to push that out. The other thing is just routine. Now, it's easier sometimes to get into a routine, especially when you're underway. You're out to sea, when you're standing watch, when you got to review for, a board, when you got to do some divisional or departmental tasks, when you got to eat, right? You got to sleep, right? So it's easier to kind of get into that routine underway, more challenging to have that routine in place in port, at least from my experience that I've noticed. And so that's something that I'm constantly working at, trying to keep, the stress level down by, setting a goal for 3 things to accomplish in the day, and then keep to the routine as best as possible.
Mm-hmm. I see we have a question on how can we improve our sleep. I know one of the things that I do to improve my sleep is I put my cell phone down. I put my cell phone down an hour to 2 hours prior to me going to sleep. And I also turn my television off. I turn off everything that can be a distraction to me. I turn it all off. And then I prepare myself to actually physically, and I have my room cool too. There also says keeping your room at a cooler temperature actually helps with sleeping as well. Now, if you're underway, that's a little different. You'd have to work it out. But if you're at shore base, in your home or barracks, whatever, you can kind of get a little bit cooler, and so that it kind of helps you sleep through the night. Captain Harris, was there some things that you would like to add to that as well, please, ma'am?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question too. I would say there are multiple things, and some of these things may overlap with what the chaplain mentioned, but shutting it down is super important, and the timeliness of doing that is key. So if we're getting rid of it, it's not just shutting down the cell phone, it's shutting down the cell phone, the iPad, the laptop, any of those electronic devices, the television, the video games, whatever. Shutting it all down several hours before you plan on going to bed. So let's say if bedtime is at 11 o'clock, then let's say if you're shooting for that, then that means that by about 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we should have already nourished our bodies. With the healthy meal. We should already have tapered down with the electronics. We should have already taken a shower if we can. These are all things if we if they're within our control and we're in control of our environments at that time, that you can implement. Try and take a shower early, especially if you like a hot shower. If you're okay with taking a lukewarm shower or lukewarm bath, then you could take it a little closer to bedtime. But as Chaplain Jefferson mentioned, if it's important to keep the room cool because our body temperatures rise when we retire and we're for the night. And we're sleeping. So that's very, very important to do those kinds of things. Working out, trying not to do that within a certain number of hours before you go to bed. Keeping the liquid intake down several hours before you go to bed. So they're just different things. The key is consistency. Doing this for, try and test yourself out, try and give it a 30 days or 60 days to try and implement some of these things. And then you'll see a significant change in your sleeping habits.
There's a question for the CEO, but before we go to that question, I also want to just throw this in here. Also reduce your alcohol intake before you go to bed, because it actually disrupts your sleep. I know we say, hey, I want to have a drink to wind down for the evening, but it actually works backwards. It prevents you from being able to get a restful sleep. You may sleep, but it's not a restful, restorative sleep. And that is what you want. And that is what your body definitely needs. So with that, CEO, how do you assist your wardrobe?
So that's a great question. I saw it pop up and I was just thinking, how do I do that? So I'd say there's two ways. One, it's just with our kind of what I said earlier is, ensuring that everyone is aware of the resources available to them. It's the coaching, it's the mentoring, it's the talking, engaging not just the junior sailors, but specifically the officers, because that's who I want. The division officers on my ship, that's who I want to be the department heads after they go and recharge on shore duty. And then the department heads that I'm working with, right now, that's who I want to be at their change of command one day when they're taking over as CO. Right. And so how do I help groom them is coming up? I'm talking to them, engaging them, telling them about my experience, not saying that I have all the answers or that I'm a perfect officer or anything like that, but just reminding them that we all make mistakes, and then use those times to highlight where we can be better. Secondly, every week at officer training, what I do like to do is before we actually get into the officer training portion, the systematic training that we'll do every week, I do like to start with a leadership vignette, right? And so that leadership vignette, no longer than 10 minutes, 15 minutes max, where I just play a podcast, right? And it could be about any different topic. What we focused on lately is some leadership vignettes from John Maxwell. He's one of my favorite people to listen to on leadership and character building and mental health engagements and how to make a whole person, a whole leader. Those are the things that I've done more recently to try to assist the wardroom as everyone is on their journey of leadership.
Thank you. That's a great question. So here's another question. All right. What do you say to your sailors when there has been a suicide in your command? Mm-hmm. Okay. So do you want me to go or you want to go? CEO, which?
So personally, I've not experienced this. I have had peers that have experienced this. And I think first and foremost, what I've seen them do is just be there, be present, be present. Call on the experts, the chaplains, the sprint team, the counselors to be there when that time is appropriate. It's not always immediately. Maybe it's 24 hours, maybe it's 48 hours. And then be in contact with their bosses on how they're handling it. The biggest thing that I always like, just like I said in the intro, is just reminding folks that no matter what, there is someone there to support them. They are not alone. You are not alone. I am not alone. And again, if you feel that that is the case, that you are just alone, then I am your witness. Because I am a part of the team just as much as they are. And so, if I were to ever have something like that happen in my command, that's probably what I would tell the team is please just remember that no matter what you're struggling with, you are not alone. Right. And we can get you all the help and resources that you need.
And thank you, Sir. Yes, and I have on Marine and Sailor. So I've experienced it quite often being a chaplain, unfortunately, more than I would care for. And for me, it really is the survivor's guilt. Yeah. You know, is working with the command and saying, you know, I should have seen, I should have known. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes, you know, they secure it in a way that they don't want you, because they don't want you to intervene. So it's working through that and being there for them in that space and at that time, and deciding what do they need to help heal as we move forward, because it's not something that you ever get over. You don't get over that. It's a grief. It's a loss. You learn to work through that. You learn to heal through the process, and realize again how important it is for your own self to get the help that you need. Just as you said, is that, you know, you're not alone. No matter how much or how bad the situation is, you're really not alone. There are people who are here for you. Chaplains on call 24/7. You know, I sleep with my cell phone beside my bed. You have you do have counselors, MFLACs, you know, your chain of command. There is always someone there, you know, to be able to assist. And I've always said, when it comes time to work through the situation as well, it depends on what the memorial service looks like, because we always do a healing memorial, and it allows the sailors or the Marines or coasties, whoever I'm serving with at that time, to be able to share those intimate moments that they had with their sailor, with their Marine, with their coastie, in a way that works for them. Celebrate the life that they live. And I definitely don't judge. That's something I don't feel is appropriate from a chaplain standpoint, because I know sometimes that comes up. And so it's a matter of us being there to take care of each other and to hold each other up. This is the time that we really come together and unify and make sure that we're there in solidarity for one another. All right, so I know that we have a couple of minutes, and then someone said they cannot wait to do this meditation.
I know that's right. We can't wait to do this meditation. Before we get started, because I and you will do the meditation, I want to thank all three of you for being with us today, because this is such an important conversation. You know, and I know how many times we read in our Navy Times, Air Force Times, Army Times about sailors that we have lost, officers and enlisted. Yes. So we need to put ways together in our toolbox that will help us. So we will now turn it over to Captain Harris, who will lead us in. First, tell us what those myths are, so we cannot have any myths about meditating, and then get us started. Thank you, Captain Harris.
Okay. So I'm just really, even though I'm a part of this conversation, I'm learning so much as well from each of you also, and taking my own notes here as well. So this is such a worthwhile discussion. So the thing about meditation is, and there are a lot of myths about it. So meditation is a form of mindfulness. And there was a man named John Kabat-Zinn. He said, mindfulness is paying attention on purpose, non-judgmentally, in the present moment. And so, and then just kind of sit on that for a minute and think about it. How many times do we actually pay attention on purpose, with intention, without judgment, right? On anything, whether it's our breathing. If we just sat there just for a minute, put our hands on our belly and our one on the belly, one on the chest, and we're breathing, we could start judging ourselves right then and there. Oh, my heart is beating too fast. Oh, this is going on. Then our minds start to go somewhere, and just kind of just in this moment, just with your one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly, intentionally pay attention to the rise and the fall of the chest or the belly as you breathe. And this isn't the actual meditation technique. We'll get into that in a minute. But I'm just trying to help you all to gain that awareness. And the stillness. Okay, so you can stop that. If it feels good, you can keep your hands there. But so this is when we practice meditation or any form of mindfulness, this is us giving our minds and our bodies its due, being intentional about what we attend to. What are we focusing on? Whatever's going on right now. It's a way to train the mind to pay more attention to what's going on. And it's positive, it's practical, it's evidence-based way to train our minds to be less distractible. So when someone meditates as well, they feel this closeness, this connectedness with other people, with in this sense, they kind of develop this sense of their purpose within the universe. And so you think about if you went to a football game or a basketball game or a tennis match, something of that sort, and you think about when you're there with everyone and your team makes a big play, what happens? Everyone, yes, everyone, you feel this electricity, you feel this energy of everyone just jumping up and screaming and positive and working toward this goal. It's palpable. You can experience that, you feel it. And so that's the thing about meditation, especially when you meditate with others, when you meditate in a group, is that you all have this collective sense of purpose and that closeness. And so you can experience that as a group. You are all working toward this one common goal. But even when you're just meditating by yourself, you can still experience that working toward your goal. Meditation also helps increase this empathy and compassion toward others as well, and toward ourselves. A lot of times we don't have the compassion first toward ourselves. Mm-hmm. So some of the benefits of meditation include a more creative, because you're able to focus better, you're able to concentrate more. So you will find yourself more creative and innovative in your thought process, more effective and productive in your work and just everyday life doing things. Your general and overall well-being is improved, and you're able to, this is one of my favorite aspects of meditation, is that ability to maintain, or better ability and enhanced ability to maintain calmness and poise during challenging times. It doesn't mean that you won't feel, that you won't experience, but sometimes the things that would have kind of riled you up, it'll be like water on a duck's back, so to speak. It just kind of rolls off. And so that improved resilience is important. And then what meditation isn't. So we talked about, okay, the benefits, what it is. What it is not, it's not an absence of thoughts where you're just kind of emptying your mind and that kind of thing. It's not an escape from reality, because as you can see, when we were just kind of watching the breath a bit in the body as we were breathing, we were focusing on the present reality. So it's not an escape from reality. It's just really focusing on where we are right now. It's not a religion or solely a religious practice, although some religious traditions do incorporate meditation in their spiritual practice. It's not a New Age relaxation technique or some mysterious trance-like state of sorts. So that's what it's not. So it's not, it can be something that you can do no matter what your faith is, no matter what your path, whether you do or don't have a faith, it doesn't matter. Meditation has benefits that go beyond that. So with that being said, it's time for practice. So it's important when we meditate that we get our bodies, our posture in the right meditative posture. So that means sitting up straight with the spine held straight and away from the back of the chair. Your hands should rest comfortably on your lap. Your chin should be parallel to the ground. Your eyes closed. Now the trick about having the eyes closed is before you close your eyes, sometimes it's good if you wear glasses, or if you don't, just think of your face with sunglasses on and look as if you're looking above the rim of the glasses. And keep the eyes closed. Close the lids with the eye gaze as if you were looking above the rim of the glasses. Now the key with that is if the eyes, when we fall asleep and when we close our eyes, we're accustomed to the gaze of the eyes going down. But when it goes down, it induces sleep. That's why people fall asleep oftentimes when they try to meditate. So we keep the gaze up, even though the eyelids are closed. Feet should be flat on the ground, not crossed, legs not crossed. And if you're sitting in a chair, this is the most proper way of meditating. So now, what you do is once you're in that right posture, you unlock the breath. And when we unlock the breath, we just do some really deep breathing exercises. As we inhale, I want you to visualize you inhaling positive thoughts, positive energy, goodwill, empathy, and compassion. All these wonderful positive thoughts. As you inhale slowly, I want you to visualize that coming into the body and the mind. And then we're going to hold our breaths and hold the tension in our bodies, because as you inhale, you're going to tense your body very intently, tense it very tight from head to toe. And hold the breath, hold the tension. Then you exhale slowly through the mouth. And as you're exhaling, you release the tension. And then you're visualizing any negative thoughts and emotions, any negative energy. You visualizing that leaving your body, leaving your mind space. So let's practice that together. Let's inhale and tense the body slowly. Inhale and tense. Hold the tension, hold the breath. Exhale and relax through the mouth. Inhale and tense the body. Hold. Exhale and relax. Inhale and tense the body. Hold. Exhale and relax slowly. Make sure you're visualizing. Inhale and tense. Hold. Exhale and relax. Blow the breath out again. Now breathe normally. And now you're going to just watch the breath. And when I say watch the breath, you're almost like a spectator watching a pendulum going back and forth. But instead, you're watching the breath going in and out, in and out. Don't try to steer the breath. Ignore the restlessness in your body and in your mind. Your mind starts to think a bunch of thoughts. It's okay, just acknowledge it and let it go. Go back to the breath. And just notice how with every breath your chest may rise or fall, or your belly may rise and fall. You're just noticing it as you are watching. Now let us go back to inhaling and tensing our bodies and exhaling and relaxing 1 or 2 times before we end our meditation. Let's do it together. Inhale and tense. Hold. Exhale and relax. Inhale and tense. Hold. Exhale and relax. Breathe normally. I want you to slowly open your eyes, but don't move. Just kind of taking in the sounds, the sensations of your body. Anything that affects the senses, you're just taking it in. When we meditate, it's good not to move too quickly, not to talk too quickly afterwards. Just kind of sit in that space of calmness. But if you must start talking after meditation, it's okay. But remember, whatever peace that you've mustered up during that meditation, remember that you give that to others. Whoever you come in contact with for the rest of the day, you give a piece of your own peace to others. Thank you.
Our time is up. I thank you for yours. If you had to leave us and now you are listening to this after hours, we apologize for going over, but it was well worth it. Captain Harris, thank you so much. Captain Commander Jefferson, see, I just promoted you 2 or 3 times today. Ended it up. We thank you so much. And CO, oh my God, God bless you. Thank you for taking this time to be with us. It means so much to our sailors, Coast Guardmen, and Marines when we take time out as commanding officers to say, we are about you. We want to help you. We want to show you we do this too, right? We do this too. So thank you so much. We are at the end for today. And I just want to say to my audience and to our audience, I'm a yogi and I do breath work, but Captain Harris, it's been a minute and I almost passed out. If you all were about to pass out with breath work, just go online and work on your breath work, because there's several different ways to get at this. But we thank you for your time. We will be at this again next month, the 4th. I have to always look at my schedule. I think it's the 4th Tuesday of every month. So next month is going to be Tuesday, 24 May. We'll be on at 12 noon. And guess what? We're going to have COs and junior officers, or should I say senior officers and junior officers, in a roundtable discussion talking about what they want, what they see, what the junior officers want from the senior officers, and what the senior officers are looking for a junior officer to bring to their command. So we look forward to seeing you next month. I'm trying to get ahead of myself. We see you next month. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
McAdams.
A pleasure.
We are looking forward to the NNOA 50th Anniversary Symposium.
Save the date now, July 25th through 29th, 2022. Prepare to book early at the West Annapolis Hotel.
Book your hotel room, register early, sign up to speak, sign up to mentor, and be mentored. There is something for everyone.
Junior officers, be on the lookout for sponsorships through the Coast Guard, Navy, and the Marine Corps and our other sea services.
We are building tomorrow's leaders today. We are stronger together.